So Alec, can you tell us about Ballinacaley?
Ballinacaley, it's in Gaelic it's Ballinacalla, which means township or clachan of the wood.
So could you describe to us what life was like in a township or a clachan like Ballinacaley? How tough was it?
I think it was definitely tough. I think at particular points it was tougher than others. You know, there was points where there was perhaps, you know, famines or particular, you know, stretches of bad weather, and that would affect crops. But what you've got to remember too is at other points, you know, that they were actually producing above subsistence, and you know they actually had quite a healthy diet.
What were these people doing up at Ballinacaley then?
Well, they had to farm. However, they didn't produce enough to live on with what they produced in the farm, so they had to do other stuff as well. You know, some people did weaving. I believe at one point they actually sent machines up from Glasgow. They rented the machines, in fact, sort of a company in Glasgow. They brought machines up for weaving. People there, you know, really up until the time of the improvements, like people elsewhere across Scotland, they lived by and large by subsistence farming, or runrig to use a Scots word. It refers to the field itself, and that they used to like plough rigs in long strips, and the thing about it was they would rotate the strips. And it was kind of egalitarian in that sense, because you know everybody would get a shot at different strips. You know, each kind of family.
So what were people using for? You mentioned heat and so on, and it's cold and wet here in winter, and cold and wet here in summer. So what were they using for fuel? Was it peat? Was it wood? Were they shipping in coal?
It was a mixture. Actually, I think it would be different, even different time periods. I mean, of course, I guess, you know, at one point there was a lot more trees in the environment, and wood was a much more easily accessible resource. I'm pretty sure peat would have been cut, particularly up in the north end of the island. In fact, walking up there, I'm sure if I saw the bit places where the peat's been cut, you know, you get to this sort of steep sort of step that just disappears.
So Ballinacaley is deserted. Can you tell us when that happened and why it happened?
Why it happened, I'm not sure of the exact details, but it did happen because of an overall kind of process whereby people were being removed from the land by land owners, of course, as properly called them by that time, because they could basically make more money, you know, by having by consolidating these smaller farm towns or clans.
And were the people at Ballinacaley that they would have been Gaelic speakers?
Oh, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. I think there would have been a degree of diglossia. There would have been, particularly the taxman class, you know, they would you know, be Scots speakers too. And it's impossible to know the degree of diglossia, you know, that there was, but there certainly was. But there were great numbers of them that didn't speak English, you know, whatsoever. One of the things that's interesting about that Gaelic didn't appear by accident. It was common thought. It was commonly accepted, even amongst many Gaelic speakers themselves, that it was necessary to eradicate Gaelic, that it was actually in their best interests, you know, because English was a much more useful language, and, you know, by speaking Gaelic that was hindering the acquisition of this much more useful language. The truth is, of course, that they did need to speak English, you know, in order to access, you know, markets, they had to speak English, no doubt about it, but none of it, you know, necessitated the eradication of Gaelic.